For our Alpine mushroom and Swiss panini, you are going to need some mushrooms, Swiss cheese, Monterey Jack cheese, some Yukon Gold potatoes, an onion, some mayo, Dijon mustard, mushroom stock concentrate, garlic powder, some sourdough bread. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of butter, some oil, and salt and pepper. First up, after washing our potatoes, we are going to cut these into wedges. These larger ones, I'm going to cut them into like thirds, like so. And then for like the smaller one, right here, I'm just going to cut this one in half. So you're just going to do this with all your potatoes. For my onion, I'm going to go ahead and just cut this right down the middle, root to tip, always. And we're going to just cut the tip and the root off of both sides. And then we're going to remove our papery layer. And this one has kind of a little thin layer on this side. All right, there we go. And then we're just going to go ahead and thinly slice this. And we're going to do this to both sides of our onion. So you can see these are fairly thin little slices. And so just go ahead and you're going to do this to both sides of your onion. For your mushrooms, you don't want to wash them under running water because they are like little sponges and they're just going to absorb all that moisture. So what I have here is I have a damp paper towel and I just wipe the mushrooms clean. As you can see, that gets the dirt off. So you just need to like wipe this with a damp towel, kind of wipe the underside too. And then that's it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take them and you're just going to kind of trim that bottom off and you can discard it. And then we're going to go ahead and just thinly slice these. Like so. And you're just going to do that with all of your mushrooms. To make your aioli dipping sauce, you're going to go ahead and add the entire contents of this mayonnaise, because aioli is actually just a fancy word for mayonnaise. And this is going to be a dipping sauce for your French fries. Personally, I'm not a fan of dipping French fries into aioli, but it's very popular in parts of Europe. People don't use ketchup. They use some sort of mayonnaise or aioli for their French fries. And then we're going to go ahead and add a 1/4 teaspoon of your garlic powder. Don't use all the garlic powder because you're going to be using it in something else. So just get a 1/4 teaspoon. And then we're going to add some salt to this. And just give this a good stir. And there you go. There is your garlic aioli. All done. So I put my potatoes onto a baking sheet. I'm going to drizzle these with oil. And I'm going to salt and pepper them. And my oven is preheated to 425 degrees with the top rack at the top position. I'm going to add the rest of that garlic powder. Plenty of pepper. And I'm just going to give these a good toss to make sure that everything is coated. And it looks like one of my potatoes didn't get cut in half, so I also need to cut that in half. So yeah, just make sure that everything is nice and coated and you get all that garlic powder all over the potatoes. And then these are going to go into the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes until they are nice and golden browned. To cook my mushrooms, I'm going to start by adding a drizzle of oil to my pan. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add these sliced mushrooms. Now this looks like quite a bit of mushrooms, but mushrooms are a lot of water. So they're going to go ahead and as they release their waters, they're going to shrink up quite a bit. We're also going to add some salt and pepper. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and toss this all so that all the salt and pepper and the oil is coating all the mushrooms. And this is on like a high heat. And so you'll start to see that because these mushrooms, like I said, are like sponges, they're just going to absorb everything. So if your pan starts to get too dry or they start to like brown too quickly, you can go ahead and add in a little bit of water or maybe even a little bit of oil as needed. And these are going to cook down for about 4 to 5 minutes. So as you can see, these mushrooms have cooked down quite a bit. And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add another drizzle of oil. And then I'm going to add my onions. And we're going to add a little bit more salt and pepper. And we're going to cook this for another 5 to 7 minutes until those onions also start to reduce down. So everything has reduced down quite a bit. Everything's getting nice and caramelized. I'm going to go ahead and add the entire contents of this mushroom stock concentrate. And then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water. And I'm just going to go ahead and give this a stir. And then I'm going to cook this until all that water has evaporated and it kind of has a more jam-like texture. So just about all this water has evaporated. So what you see foaming behind is just some of the fat from the oil. So I have turned off the heat and I'm actually just going to go ahead and transfer my mushrooms and onions to a bowl, and then I am going to wash my pan and actually wash it because we don't really want all these brown bits on the outside of our grilled cheese. To assemble our sandwiches, you see that I have my 2 slices stacked on top of one another. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just flip that over like that. That way the bread lines up. You see, if I did it this way, the bread hasn't completely lined up perfectly. So by taking the 2 pieces that are perfectly lined up like so, and then just flipping like that, and I'm gonna do the same thing like so, that's gonna give you like the even matchup of bread. So you're gonna just on 1/2 of your slices, you're just gonna put a little Dijon mustard. I'm just squeezing it onto here. And then just go ahead and like kind of spread that. Like so. And then we're going to take some Swiss cheese, and you're going to need to like rip the cheese to kind of like fit your bread. Let's see, I can move that like that. Look at the whole match is perfect. And then like so. And so this, each side actually gets 2 pieces of cheese. But I think I want to put some cheese on the bottom. No, I don't. I lied. Ignore me. Don't listen to me. So there we go. So those are 2 slices on this piece. And then I'm going to try and fit some more right here, and we'll just go ahead and cover that hole this time. Okay, then you're going to take your mushroom and onion mixture and you're going to put that right on top of the cheese. Carefully because it's hot. This reminds me of kind of like a cross between like a French onion soup turned into a grilled cheese with a little bit of mushrooms. And then you're gonna top it with some Monterey Jack cheese. And you're gonna do this for both sandwiches. All right, so I have washed my pan. My sandwiches are assembled. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my pan on. And we are gonna go ahead and melt about a tablespoon of butter into the pan instead of putting it directly onto our grilled cheese slices. So we're just gonna kind of let that melt for just a second. And then we're gonna add in both of our sandwiches and just cook them on each side until the bread is nice and like golden brown, about, 5 to 6 minutes, a couple minutes aside. So as soon as this butter melts, I'll put my sandwich. All right, so my butter is melted, so I'm just going to carefully place my sandwiches into this nice warm butter, kind of press them down. And then just cook it several minutes on each side. Before I flip, I'm gonna add the other tablespoon of butter to the pan so that both sides get nice and buttered. All right, so these have been cooking for several minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that other tablespoon of butter to my pan, and I am gonna get these flipped. And I just have kind of like pushed it up to the edge here, and you're probably gonna wanna use, both hands to flip this so that we hopefully don't make a giant mess, because these are, full of little loose mushrooms and such. So we're just gonna do that, and we're just gonna flip the other one and let this cook for another couple of minutes until they're both nice and golden brown. So my grilled cheese and potatoes are now ready. So now it's just a matter of plating, and you can serve this with some of that garlic aioli on the side. As always, I look forward to your presentation.